I'm Angela Walters from Quilting is My Therapy, and in this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips for quick and efficient quilting. I'm demonstrating the quilting on one of the blocks from Build A Quilt, which is my Block of the Month program, but these techniques can be used on any blocks. Tip number 1, use designs that touch to transition into other areas. For instance, in this block, I'm going to quilt the bracket shape that works its way around the center square. I love the curvy, pointy look of the bracket shape, but I really love how it touches that inner square. That means I can get into the center, quilt a design, and get right back out. Tip number 2, pick designs that return to the starting point if necessary. For instance, if I want to quilt this block and get back to where I started, I'm going to pick a design like continuous curve that will make that happen. I'm able to quilt the whole design and return to where I started. Number 3, use stitching in the ditch to quilt designs efficiently or to move around the quilt. So hold on a second, hear me out on this. Stitching in the ditch is just traveling along the seam. And I know it's not everybody's idea of a great time, but it's going to help me work my way through the block without breaking thread. For instance, in these echo lines, I am not going to break thread in between them. Traveling along the seam quickly gets me to the next line. Stitching along the seams of a block gets a bad reputation, but it's not as difficult as you might think. Just get it as close as you can, and when the quilt's finished and all washed up and beautiful, you won't even see any of those, unintentional customizations. And another thing I don't worry about is making sure that every seam is stitched in. I just use stitching in the ditch to get where I need to go. Here's the deal, you can only worry about one side of the quilt, the front or the back, and I'm going to choose to worry about the front. I'm going to go ahead and fill in this last seam, and then I'm going to use the filler in the background to get to the next part of the block. These beautiful swirls add lovely texture and really fill in that tan fabric, but they serve a more important purpose, helping me maneuver my way around the quilt. I know I've said it before, but I am all about efficiency. Whatever helps me get this block done as fast as possible, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to quilt those swirls until I get to the next corner of my block, and then I'm going to try something different in this fabric. I'm going to quilt a line that goes out towards the outer corner, but I'm going to stop about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of the seam. Then I'm going to echo along the side and then return back to my starting point. I'm going to keep filling in the area with these wedges with all the lines returning to the corner. I like to call this dot-to-dot quilting because I'm using reference points or dots on the quilt block to quilt these designs without marking. The result is a complex looking design that's actually really easy to quilt. In fact, it's so easy, I've done a whole free motion challenge on dot-to-dot quilting. And if you've watched any of those videos, you know exactly what I'm doing. If you haven't seen any of the videos, well then you're in luck. I have a link in the description box below that shows you exactly how to do a lot of different designs, including this one that I'm doing in the corners. What I love about this design is that I end up back at the point that I started at. And that means I can continue stitching along the seam and then continue quilting my swirls in the background until I get to the next corner. I can travel along the seam and then do more of that echo quilting like I did on the other side. Now try not to let all the tips overwhelm you. The most important thing is that you get the quilt quilted. Now even though I love efficient quilting, it's not efficient if I don't finish the quilt. So in the end, do the designs that you want to quilt, whether they're efficient or not. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. I like to get on there and answer them when I can. And give the video a thumbs up. It'll help other quilters find it as well. I'll be back soon with another video tutorial from Quilting is My Therapy. Happy quilting!